You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, hello. Another great week ahead. Wasn't it nice to have a little rain this one? Did y'all get any rain?
Very little.
Very little, but it's better than getting slapped in the face with 95-degree weather. 74 degrees during daylight hours. I don't remember the last time that's happened. Anyway, we're with our friends from Loeb, get it right, Castro Lube Oil Exchange, and they're going to talk about their 9/11 remembrances and also the event they have for first responders, which is going to be over at the baseball field at Cleburne. Variously called new things now. I've just learned a Depot, La Moderna Field, something like that. Is that
Yeah, basically it's the home of the Cleburne Railroaders.
So why don't y'all introduce yourselves and tell us your connection to this event.
I'm Kara Ellison. I'm the executive director for Chisholm Trail 100 Club, and the Chisholm Trail 100 Club is an organization that is dedicated to supporting our first responders, and those first responders are law enforcement, firefighters, EMS personnel, as well as emergency call takers in the Johnson County, Hood County, Somerville County, and the city of Mansfield area. And what we do is we support those first responders each and every day. And our sole mission is to be there for them and their families in times of tragedy. So we don't like to think about the bad stuff happening, but it does, as we remember back 22 years ago. A lot of
it is 22.
A lot of bad stuff happened this day, and we lost a lot of our first responders. And this organization was founded back in 2010 to support our first responders in that service area. Bad things happen every day. If it happens, we're there to stand in the gap. We support right at 2,000 first responders in that service area with financial support and all kinds of other support for their families if the unthinkable happens. And we do all that through a variety of events and activities and memberships. And we've got one of those coming up, and we're going to talk about that. But I'll let Brett introduce himself as well.
Okay, good.
And I'm Brett Morrison. My wife Sherry and I own the Castrol Premium Lube Express in Burleson. We are supporters and sponsors of the Chisholm Trail 100 Club, and specifically, our focus, since we're automotive, we spend our time and efforts on the car show that we have coming up next month.
So this is
sponsorship wise.
Now this is the Castro on John Jones near the Walmart neighborhood store.
Correct.
And you've been there 7 years now.
Yes.
And I hope things are going well. I mean, every time I drive by there, there's cars on the bay, so I guess it's a good sign.
Yeah, we're doing great. We love the location. We love the community. When we decided that we were going to set out a business, we decided it was going to be in our community where we're close, and we know our customers. We're their neighbors.
Well, before we jump into all the details of your event and our remembrances of that day, it's go over the first round of sponsors, make all these things possible for us. Thank you, CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Talk to the ladies, Lexi and Bailey, and they'll tell you about their plans and their programs and the classes they teach. It's supervised workouts. It's got trainers. It's got all you need. So give them a holler at 317 Southwest Wilshire. Also, Shandy Stogsdill. The real estate market's still active here. I keep reading, it's slowing down and all this other business. Apparently not here, because she's about to close on the house this week, I believe. And so things are still happening. So thank you, Shandy, for what you do for the community. Also, she's involved with a charity of her own, Re-Inspire, helps foster children acclimate to adulthood once they age out of the process. So that's a good group to look into. Next Thursday, we're going to have a show where all the nonprofits are going to be here and have time to talk about their programs. I'm looking forward to that one. Also, thank you to Otto over at Our Place. I'm sure you all been there before, more than once probably. And Our Place restaurant is a great place, and it's always got great service. My daughter took some friends there yesterday, and she comes back raving about the food, and so it's a good sign, But Our Place on the highway in Alsbury. Also, Wild Cigar and Culture over on the Standard at Hidden Creek. They will be on tomorrow. I know Nathan, one of the partners, and they'll be there, and hopefully Chris Notaboom will be here too. Depends on the schedule, but we're going to talk about what's going on with their promotions and whatnot they got going on for football season and all the rest. So you want a decent smoke, you want a decent drink, Wild Cigar is your place. Also, Local Life Magazine, a great place to advertise in. 30,000 homes get it. A lot of businesses get it. I go into some of your local retail establishments and I see it on the shelves or counters or whatever else. So Local Life Magazine gets the name out there. So call Tiffany Nico if you're interested. Also, Burleson Buzz. This is a startup by a couple of young men, Cody O'Brien and Ashton Nix, and they report a lot on the Cleveland Railroaders quite a bit. But they also talk about local events. It's online. It's kind of a newspaper online kind of experience, and they have a really good write-up about last week's city council meeting, which got a lot of discussion because of tax issues involved. So if you want a good summary of that, check out the latest Burleson Buzz. All right, 9/11/2001. I'm going to give it my reminiscence. Some of the audience members will know who I'm talking about when I say the name Barbara Tatum. She's a teacher colleague of mine. I would not doubt your daughter probably had her. She was a sophomore English teacher. Anyway.
More likely my son-in-law.
Your son-in-law?
My daughter was in a different school district.
Oh, okay. Who's your son-in-law?
Seth Tynan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Great man.
Very likely. But it was interesting that this is about 8 o'clock in the morning. School classes then started about maybe 8:45, I believe then, or 8:30. I'm not quite sure. Doesn't matter. She comes in and she says, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. But we didn't know anything more than that, so we tried to look up on the internet, and it's overloaded. But what it looked like, the initial report was like a Cessna or something like that, a private plane had flown into the World Trade Center. And, as odd as that sounds, that's not an unknown occurrence. You have, for various reasons, why that could happen. And so we thought, well, okay, that's not too, I guess it's sad, but it's not too serious. And then a couple of minutes later, she comes back and said, no, we need to see what's going on. And so we go down about 2 doors down to another teacher. Her name was Miss Weatherford. And her TV, we had closed circuit TVs, but she liked Oprah and in the basketball tournament. And so she had it all rigged up, with paper clips and made a homemade antenna. It had that and hangers and tinfoil. So we could get outside TV. At least we can get ABC, which is good enough for her because that's where Oprah came on. And so this is what we saw live in real time. Taylor, if you would.
Tourists coming in to look at the city of New York from atop it. Also there, I don't know if this is the building that has the restaurant on top it as well, but in those high floors, there are places where tourists team in the morning, even if the regular workers weren't in. And we remind you again that there was a terrorist bomb that did go off at the World Trade Center years ago. It was down in the garage level, but we have no
obviously
reason,
no indication that this could have been related to that. Right. Now, Don Daler, ABC's Don Daler, who is on the scene. Don, just give me some description again of what you can see now.
What we're seeing, it appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building, and as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway in downtown New York.
We will see that scene again just to make sure we saw what we thought.
We're going to give you a replay of what we just saw, and I must admit I thought it was some sort of fire equipment coming in or some sort of observation plane, but it was obviously designed to attack the World Trade Center. We're going to show you that. Here's a replay of the videotape. In a second, that looks like a good-sized plane came in and hit the World Trade Center from the other side. So this is obviously, or would seem to be, and again, I'm dealing in speculation, but it would seem like there is a concerted attack against one of the towers of the World Trade Center underway.
Okay, Taylor, it'll be good.
We had seen a plane coming in from the other direction.
We're watching this in real time, and we saw this happening. When we went in there and saw the first one, we said, this ain't no Cessna. that, what we didn't know was a terrorist. We thought maybe the pilot may have had a heart attack, and lost control, or suicide, whatever. We weren't thinking Al-Qaeda and all that business until we saw the second one, and it was my class and her class and Miss Weatherford's class, and, and the kids were obviously, very overwrought. It was just it was surreal. And what made it even more so is that Miss Weatherford had a daughter that lived in Midtown Manhattan, and she was getting live reports on this and in real time. And we knew then that we had a real problem. And then, of course, we heard about what happened at the Pentagon, and we heard about Flight 93 during the day. We watched the towers fall. And you said we lost, 343 first responders on that day, right?
We lost 343 firefighters, 60 police officers, and 8 paramedics that day.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and it for my generation, I'm 61. This is like you ask somebody older than me, and they'll tell you where they were when Kennedy was shot and things of that nature. This is my version of it, and I guess, and because of because it was right in front of you, and it just took a while to absorb what was happening. But anyway, to your event, that it must have inspired you to do something, right? To do something for the first responders. Is this group mostly for local first responders?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chisholm Trail 100 Club supports all of the first responders in Johnson County, Somerville County, which is the Glen Rose area, Hood County, which is the Granbury area, as well as the entire city of Mansfield. So again, our coverage is a three county plus service area, and we covered 2,000 first responders. And the cool thing about first responders is whenever you see them in action, they're running towards the danger, towards the accident, towards the fire, towards the bad guy that's involved with something, where everyone else is running away. They run toward it, and they never know what they're going to encounter every day when they go into their shift. Like last night, when 22 years ago, when each of those first responders and each of those individuals that got on their plane. It was just another day. They put on their clothes and they were just going to work. But stuff happens, and the Chisholm Trail 100 Club is there when that bad stuff happens for them. The 100 Club is actually not new or not unique to this area. The 100 Club was actually started back in the 1950s in Detroit. There was a law officer killed in the line of duty back in the late 50s. And one of the local Detroit businessmen called on 100 of his friends and said, "Hey, we need to help this family." He left behind a widow, 2 small children. I'm challenging each of these 100 people to donate money to help this family. And that was really the genesis of what has become the 100 Clubs. There's 100 clubs now in every state in the United States, and we have 22 different clubs across the state of Texas. They're all independent. They all operate independently. We're a 501c3 organization, and our club is kind of unique in that we cover all first responders, not just law enforcement, where some of the clubs across the country or even across Texas just cover law. We cover all the branches, so law, firefighting, paramedics, as well as the emergency call takers. And we do all this just through community support, through memberships, and like you're seeing on the screen, this upcoming Hot Rods and Heroes Motor Festival that we have coming up in October 22nd.
Mr. Morrison, how did you get involved in this?
We've been supporters of first responders forever. If you drive by my shop, you'll see 3 flags. There's in the center is an American flag, which everybody knows what that represents. On the left side of the shop is a blue line flag. We went to church with Lauren Aarons, who was gunned down on July 7th in Dallas. That flag is there in honor of him. And on the far side of the shop is a red line flag, which is in honor of my uncle, who was a retired firefighter captain with North Las Vegas Fire Department. That's my personal connection to it. When I met Kara and her group, it was an obvious place for us to focus on with our resources. So, and then we came across the car show. So we do cars. I love cars. It's a great fit.
Right, it does. It does make sense, doesn't it? Now, we talked about this a couple of years ago. You were doing this, so this is an annual thing.
Yes, this will be our 9th annual Hot Rods and Heroes, and it's one of the events that we have several fundraisers throughout the year, but this one's really cool because it's public facing, and so anyone from the community can come out to this event on that Sunday afternoon, October 22nd. We run from 2 to 6, and we encourage the community to come out not only to see the awesome cars that are on site, but we have a lot of first responders that are present as well. And we love to always have our first responders come to our events, especially with the public. We just had one of these motor festivals this past Saturday in Granbury. So we've started at it's just the second annual in Granbury. But the cool thing this year is we had demos from the Granbury volunteer fire departments, like 4 of their departments come in and do some demos for the public in terms of extricating victims from wrecked vehicles. And so it was all mock-up. No one was hurt, but they had 2 vehicles that they brought out, and they used their tools, the jaws of life, all of that good stuff to show the public exactly what they do and how they do that, which is amazing. And so we always try to provide an avenue for the community to get to know the first responders at our events, to show our appreciation to them, and also for them to just realize what these men and women do every day for total strangers. You know, they put on their uniform, they go into work, they have no idea what the call is going to be, and they are out there just stepping towards the danger for a total stranger each time a call goes out. So we thank them. We appreciate them.
Where do y'all get the cars?
Actually, I think it was Crescent and maybe the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department. I'm not sure exactly how they procured those, but they had 2 wrecked vehicles that they assembled like on top of each other. It looked like an actual wreck in the middle of the parking lot, and they had it all cordoned off, and it was pretty impressive.
It sounds like what we used to do in school about drunk driving.
Right.
You know, I forget what the title is now. I'm getting old, but it was every year would have a drunk driving lesson, and then put out some old beat up car, and then have some of the students with makeup on, and that kind of stuff. And it was prom related, so trying to get a message across. As far as the cars you're showing, these fancy cars, where do you get those?
Those come from all over the community. Anyone can register to bring out one of their show cars, their exhibit cars. We have people from all over Johnson County, from Hood County, Tarrant County. We've even had people from West Texas and down in the Austin area drive up for the show. It's become a pretty big deal, the show, and we get a lot of great cars, and we're just very appreciative of our sponsors. Castrol has been our one of our top sponsors for the last 5 years, I think.
So, yeah.
And love our sponsors and love our partnership with the Cleveland Railroaders and them allowing us to use their beautiful venue. The cool thing about that venue is if you're a car guy and you go to car shows, you love a car show that is all on pavement.
Right.
You're not having to get your car dirty. Yeah. So
and we have enough real estate there to spread out. You can take more than one spot if you need to. We have plenty of room.
Right.
It's interesting because my dad loves old cars, and it seems like a lot of people love old cars. At one point, my dad had 3 '64 Mustangs.
Oh, wow.
And they were, in really great condition. And I used one for Baylor's '84 homecoming. I was driving it, and we had a little Queen nominee on the seat and all this other business. And and these other Queen nominees are coming by in DeLoreans or Corvettes, and they're like, yeah, that's nice. And then here comes that white '64 Mustang convertible, and everybody's like, what now? They were going crazy because they just love those old cars. And so, do you have one yourself?
I do.
What do you have?
I have a 1970 Carmen Ghia.
Okay, see that you don't see that every day.
Right.
I know there are some here in the general area. When I was at the high school and I would put on homecoming parades, I get people calling, say, hey, can I put my car in it? And I said, sure, we'll put them all together, and so there'd be like 6 or 7, and that would be, a big thing of the parade. It's supposed to be at the ball team and the candy and all this other business, but you put about 6 or 7 these fancy Thunderbirds or something like that through there. Everybody get, oh, look at that, and it was a highlight of the parade.
They're impressive.
I don't know what it is about old remade custom cars. They're all spiffed up, but it does get one's attention.
Everybody's got a memory, right?
Yeah.
So
It
and
just
I get
takes you
people
back in
see
time.
mine and they come up and go, "Oh, my dad had one of those, or my cousin had something like that." And
It's really a lot of fun, and at our show, we do things a little different, but we recognize the top cars in each of the decades. So we've got our vintage, which cuts off around 1929, and then we have our top car in the 30s, 40s, all the way up to the late model cars. But the biggest probably set of cars that we get, and probably the most fan favorites are those muscle cars of the 60s. And it's that's where that meat of the show really comes from. So, but we have a little bit of everything.
Oh, and my cousin's very skilled. I have a younger cousin. Is very skilled in auto body and paint and whatever. And my uncle would get these like old DeSotos or cars in the 50s that look at them when he started with them, look like they're junk, and then they turn them into something pretty nice. But if you want to have that kind of hobby, you better have some wallet with you, because it's not a cheap hobby at all.
Not at all. I would hate to guess how much money is sitting on that parking lot that day.
No, and I'd be very nervous about driving it in town. But there's a couple of gentlemen that have these old cars near my neighborhood, and I see them driving around, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever leave it out of the garage. Just it's going to stay there, and it's going to, armed guard or something. Because
we have a lot will show up on a trailer.
Yeah, well, sure.
Mine comes in on a trailer, and there's several others that, for various reasons. But
I would just hate driving that car along and some teenager T-bone you in the intersection, because that'd be.
I think about that every time I get in mine, especially since I'm only wearing just a lap belt.
Right.
If I get in a wreck in that thing, it's probably not going to be pretty.
Does it still have like the original radio and all that?
Mine does not. Mine has a custom over-the-top stereo system with a screen this big in it. And
oh my. Okay.
Subwoofer in the back and all that.
Well, I was riding in one of those during the parade, and the guy had his original, so we're listening to like AM radio, and it's, the old knobs pushing the presets and all that other stuff, and it was really a trip back. But everybody loves these things,
They do.
Yeah, and so you said this is your 7th or 9th? I'm sorry.
This will be our 9th.
9th, okay. And so I'm sure it's been getting bigger every year.
It has grown. Actually, we used to have this event at Lost Oak Winery in Burleson, and we just flat outgrew the space that we had. That was 3 years ago, and we were able to partner with the Cleburne Railroaders, and again have an area that is huge. Last year we had over 200 cars on site for that afternoon.
Wow.
We're anticipating 250 cars this year. Every year we're just exponentially like 50 more cars each and every year. So we've really grown it into a premier event. We have custom awards that we give out every year. They're pretty awesome.
They're different than other. I've been to 2 car shows in the last week recruiting, and everybody gives away the standard, fake gold trophy.
Right.
Yeah. Ours are really. I don't know if you have a picture of our trophies, but they're artwork.
Custom.
They're artwork, and they have car parts on them. And
they're 3D.
Yeah, 3D.
They're 3D.
Plus, we have all the other stuff going on. It's not just the car show.
No.
We have a lot of other stuff happening there too. We have a huge raffle that we use to raise money. We have the kids area this year.
I'll keep the kids away from the cars. Yes. Good plan.
Yeah. They keep them all over there with the animals. I think. And then what else have we got?
We've got vendors, lots of vendors. If you have a company that you would like to sell merchandise for, not food vendors, we're good on that. But if you have an area of a small business that you'd like to come out, just get a little more community support. We have vendor spots that are available for $50. And we have, like Brett said, a kid zone that's we're going to have just special things for the kids. We've got a raffle, and we've got a live band. Every year we feature a new group on stage, and so we really have a lot of fun. The concessions are open. The stadium's open inside where the Railroaders play, so you can check that out if you've never been out there for a ball game.
It's a good field for baseball.
It's a great field.
It's
or a car show.
Or a car show, yeah. But I've been to a couple of Railroader games, and I'm very impressed for a little town, small town like Cleveland. It has a very nice baseball stadium.
It's very nice.
And the baseball, is about AA level, which is good baseball.
It's very good baseball. They actually just were in the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have late model cars like the latest
Yes.
2023 Mustang?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so it's not all vintage.
It's not all vintage. It goes all the way up to the latest and greatest cars that somebody just had on order and rolled in.
You got to do auto dealerships and get involved with this?
Actually, yes, we've had several of our Burleson dealerships be sponsors in the past. This year, they're not. I haven't gotten commitments from some of those yet, so I hate to say anything and put anybody on the spot. But we'd love. We're still taking sponsorships. We'd love if you're interested. If you're a car person, your business is related to cars, and you think this would be a good fit, just give me a call or shoot me an email. I'm at Kara@ct100.org.
Okay, one more time.
It's Kara, Cara, at ct100.org.
Okay. Well, so again, I was thinking like the car show at the State Fair, that's coming up pretty soon. And I haven't been in a while, but when I do go, I always go by the new car show. That's that's a must. My wife wants to go to the new gadget show, and that's fine. And we're too old for the Midway, this, I guess Americans have always loved cars because, more than maybe other parts of the world because we do so much driving. We love our cars. Well, we got the logos up. Let's talk about the date itself. Oh, wait. Well, Taylor, let's run through the next run of ads. And so we don't get in, I have to cut it short or anything. So let's run through the next run of ads and then we'll go back to the logos. Okay. This is Southern Gym. You ever been in Southern Gym?
I have not. I've heard about it.
My wife frequents that place. I'm afraid.
Yes, my wife works there, so I get a lot of pictures on the phone, a lot of stuff texted me. Oh, look at this! Wouldn't that be lovely? And I'm like, oh, nice nails, dear. Anyway, Southern Gym. It's on the bottom floor of the Windmiller Building, off of the Standard, at Hidden Creek, and it's very, very nice. And she's going to be on the show in about 2 months, but it's already Christmas time apparently, and they're taking orders and stuff. And I've been stressing this, and she'll stress it as well, that if you want something repaired or designed, you better do it pretty soon, because if you wait till like a week before Christmas to ask for something to be repaired, it won't be done in time, because they get so much of that kind of stuff at the end. They want to, surprise their loved one with grandma's repaired and restored ring and stuff like that. So if you got that going on, I get it to her in October. But it's a very, very nice store. And tomorrow night, by the way, she has a chamber event that from 4:30 to 6:30. So, are y'all members of the chamber by any chance?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're having that
after hours.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to think of business at night, but I forget the title. But Cabrini was on last week talking about it, so it's a big deal. Also, thank you to Old Pro Roofing here in town. 817-734-2756. We'll get you John Williams. He'll come check your roof out. He'll give you the straight story. He won't try to upsell you. He won't try to make your roof more than it is. And oh my Lord, blue shingle, you need to replace the whole thing. Nothing like that. You don't get that kind of routine from Old Pro. They'll tell you the straight story, and I really appreciate that. He came and checked out my roof a couple of months ago after that hailstorm we had, and he said, "You're good to go." And it's good to have home folks taking care of these kind of things for you, because you know where to find them. 817-734-2756. Also, our newest sponsor, this is our friends Thrive. Basically what they'll do is they'll get your business in front of the customers through various aspects, not just social media, but also they have an entire business suite kind of thing where, invoicing and emailing and communications and messaging and calendars and the whole thing. A lot of us in my networking group use this. If I'm in BNI, and get a lot of people that use this product for business purposes. And so it's not just social media and websites, it's the whole gamut of running a business. And she'll probably be on the show. I think she's going to be on the 25th, if I believe. Dee Simpson I'm talking about. Also, another BNI friend, Stop Restoration with Lisa Moore Smith. So if you have any damage, you have any water damage, the thing is, it doesn't have to be a disaster. You don't have to be like a major storm to cause all this problem. You have a water leak in the toilet or the hot water heater, you're going to have a real problem, if you're not taking care of it. And also they're mold specialists. They take care of biohazards. Lisa was showing us pictures of a hoarder, and it just, the trash was up to your knees and all over the house. and you can't sell the house like that. So they had to go in there and restore it. So it's all sorts of services along those lines. So call Lisa and Morris Smith if you need those kind of things going on, and they'll come check your home for mold as well. Also, the Candy Gal over at U Mortgage here in town, 817-925-2661. She was on about 2 weeks ago, and they're talking about the rates. You know, the interest rates are rising, and they say that the housing rates are going to be, the 30-year rates will be stuck there a while. So you need somebody to help you navigate that. She'll find you the best deal from all the various brokers that are offering mortgages, and she'll find it for you. So give Candy a call at 817-925-2661. She's handled 2 of my refinancings, and she's really, really good at it. Do we have anybody else? Okay, Taylor, if you would, the logo events again. Okay, for somebody who wants to participate, what do they need to do?
Yeah, if they want to be an exhibitor in the car show, they can go to our Facebook page, which is Chisholm Trail 100 Club. And there's a link on our Facebook page, as well as our website that you just click on the link. It's all online registration. We highly encourage you to register beforehand. That way we can guarantee you some of our event merchandise for our exhibitors that we give away free. And we have event T-shirts, and
They're really cool T-shirts.
I'll be bringing you one, Mr. Allard. So
it got locked up or something like that?
Well, the ones from our car show in Hood County got locked in the trailer. The ones that coming up for this event, they're still in production.
Okay.
But I'll bring you one when they get finished up. But if you pre-register, you get a cool event T-shirt as well as a dash plaque. And I know these car guys that go to these car shows all the time, they start collecting these little dash plaques of all the car shows that they attend. Mm-hmm. So if you pre-register, you'll be guaranteed those 2 items. But you can also walk up the day of. The price goes up, and obviously it's just you'll have to stand in line for a little bit to get registered. But it takes like less than 3 minutes to register online and get everything taken care of. And the cool thing also, if you register online, you can upload a picture of your vehicle, and then that's going to be out there on our website and all of that good stuff. And so it's a really easy way. You can go to our website, which is ct100.org. The link's on there as well as on our Facebook page.
Okay, early bird registration is $25 a car if they get it done before the 15th.
Yes, sir.
So what is today? Yeah, we got about a month if you have a car you want to show off. And if you show up with the car the day of the event, it's $40. And like you said, you're going to have to do a little registration. If you get this all done early, not just save you money, it saves you time. And so how many cars do you think you have right now?
Oh, I haven't looked this weekend, but we're probably around that 50, 60 mark. Again, we're over a month out. And so I've learned over the years, car show folks kind of wait till the last minute
I
to
haven't
register.
registered yet, but I'm going to be
You're going to be there, okay.
Because they kind of like to watch that weather and all that. And that's cool. That's why we do the pre-registration. It helps us a lot. But if you're just a spectator and want to come out, just somebody in the community that wants to come out and look at this, there's no spectator fee to get in. We do charge a little bit for parking. That just, again, goes to our proceeds. So on-site parking is $10, but that's a carload. So, you can cram 8 people in your car.
Throw somebody in the trunk. It's like the drive-in movies back in the days.
Yeah, the drive-in movies. Yeah. But, actually, we are very family-friendly with this event. So $10 for a Sunday afternoon to bring your kids out. If you want to park on site, is really nothing these days. And all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to our mission, which is standing in the gap for our first responders in times of tragedy.
And you mentioned there's going to be vendors of not just food, but also other items, car-related items, I'm sure.
Some car, some clothing, a little bit of everything.
Right.
A little bit of everything over the years. And so I was just watching some of your sponsors earlier for this show. Wild Cigar was one of our vendors last year. We hope to have them back.
I'll tell them tomorrow.
Okay,
with the program.
That would be great.
All right.
Last year it was pretty windy for our vendors. We just had one of those freakish days in October. But we're really hopeful that all of our terrible weather is past us by this point in October.
No, I already checked with the weatherman. We have great weather.
There you go. Well, but if it does like rain, you're still going to have it, right?
Yeah, we do have a rain date. It'll be the following weekend or the following Sunday, which is the 29th. I believe it's the 29th.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
that following Sunday.
Okay, so because I know these car owners are probably paranoid about getting their cars out in the weather, and then, they'll stand over there with an umbrella, I guess, or something like that. So you come out there, you're going to have stuff for the kids, you're going to have food, you're going to, other vendors of clothes and such. And
plus we have this year, we added a new event that gives everybody an opportunity to actually win some cash.
Cash, now you're talking.
It's we're doing a Sasquatch hunt. So it's there will be multiple Sasquatches hidden throughout the vehicles out in the concourse area, and it's kind of a bingo kind of card thing. You go and you find the Sasquatch, you write down which car it is, you turn it in, and then the winner will receive some cash. It will be a matching donation that will go also to CT100 as well.
Wow. So. Now you see, you put a little money on the table. Yeah. Of course, you have raffles. You also mentioned live entertainment. Who's going to be doing the live entertainment?
We're still finalizing that. I will let you know, and so maybe you can announce that in the coming weeks. We've had the Dolan Band the last several years. We had Bullet Creek last year, and we're still negotiating with trying to finalize all of that. And this hopefully this week get that finalized.
Yeah, the Dolan Band has done several of these events, and
they're great.
They're well known for participating in these kind of activities. And now, as far as what you do with the proceeds. Okay, you say it goes to first responders and their families. Give us an example of what we're talking about.
For sure. If you think back several years ago, let's see, it was 2011, I believe. Johnson County Sheriff's Deputy Clifton Taylor, he was sent out on a call, serving a warrant. He was shot and killed on site in the line of duty. Like I said, put on his uniform that morning, just, routine stuff was going to do, served a warrant, and was killed on site. What we do for that family is we help them immediately with some initial funding, and then we carry a accidental death and dismemberment policy on each one of those 2,000 first responders in our service area. And so if they are hurt or seriously injured, the line of benefits for them is now $80,000 that their family will receive. The Chisholm Trail 100 Club has increased that steadily over the years. And so all the money that we raise goes towards being able to provide that coverage for them. So if they're killed in the line of duty, it's $80,000 that's going to go to their family. If they're seriously injured with an amputation, of loss of vision, loss of hearing, whatever that is, they will receive financial support for that serious bodily injury as well. Just in January, we started a benevolence disbursement program for any of our first responders that die off duty, regardless of the cause, regardless of what's happened, whether they were just driving to work and got T-boned or, had a health issue. If they were an active first responder and they pass away, we're going to give their family $5,000.
It doesn't. So it doesn't have to actually be somebody who had this kind of event happen while they were working. It's just if they're a first responder, you're going to respond. For them.
Right. Regardless of it's just the
situation.
amount of coverage. Obviously, with our accidental death and dismemberment, that's the $80,000. That's on duty. That's the payout. If it's another situation off duty, we're there for them. We're there for them in the bad times, but we're also there for them in the good times. And we have scholarships that we do every single year.
Okay.
We give annual scholarships to dependents of our first responders. So we know that they're not the top paid people in our community, but they're probably the hardest working people in our community.
Well, like you mentioned about that young man, the sheriff. I remember that. Or deputy, rather. I remember that event happening. I was living in Burleson when it did. And it is a sobering thing to think about that he put on his uniform that day, thinking it's going to be just another day. I don't know if he was married or not, but his family just said, probably didn't think about it. This would be the day that something like that would happen.
Right.
But I guess if you're a first responder, you have to think those thoughts.
You kind of have to. Your family has to be just like if you're military. You don't know. And so that's our sole purpose, is to be there for their families in times of tragedy. Not only are they losing a father, a spouse, a mother, they're losing a breadwinner to their family. They're losing so much, and the financial aspect that we're able to provide to their family, we know that will never replace that individual, but we're just trying to help them in that immediate time of need, however that we can. We never want to have to take a check to a family. That's the last thing that I ever want to do, or our board of directors wants to do, but we're there for them when that happens. And unfortunately, this year already, in September, we instituted that benevolence disbursement program in January for our off-duty, for anyone that passes away, off in an off-duty situation. And we've already had 2 active first responders that have passed away this year.
Well, you may have mentioned this already, but what if you have a first responder that gets, cancer or some other disease? Are you find a way to help them with that as well?
Well, yes, sir. If they pass away, this benevolence funding will be provided to their families. And so we also, if we hear about a situation with a first responder, and say and a local group is trying to raise money for some medical costs or things like that, we help support that just through promoting what they're doing and getting the word out. We have a very strong social media presence and a lot of followers, and so we're constantly trying to tell the first responder stories on our social media. So when we hear about really cool things that they do, we share that. Another way that we help them in good times is when our first responders perform a life save. So when they go out on a call and somebody's in cardiac or respiratory arrest, and those first responders engage their skills and their abilities and their training, and they are actually able to bring somebody back from a cardiac or respiratory arrest, we recognize them with what we call a Lifesaver Award. And we typically try to do that in front of their community leadership and management, and give them that award and recognize them and tell their story about what they did. So.
How long have you personally been involved with this group?
I came on board with them in the fall of 2018, so I guess I'm coming on my 5th year.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how, Mr. Weiss, you had 5 years, you said?
Just about, about as long as she has, I think.
Okay. And so I'm sure you've gotten a lot of personal satisfaction from being part of this group. It must
Absolutely,
be,
yeah. We have a lot of first responder customers. We're around the corner from Burleson Station 1. We do a valet service for those guys over there. They'll send me a text, and I run over and pick up their diesel trucks usually and leave my car, bring it back. And, we do that kind of stuff for them. And I think it's a benefit to them, but yeah.
Well, what inspired you to take part of this 5 years ago?
That's a great question, because I had retired from corporate America and I was kind of loving my retirement life. And one of the directors, and we have a very strong board of directors that runs this organization, but one of them called and said, "Hey, I know you're retired, but I know you kind of have experience with like managing projects, managing multiple things and fundraising and all this good stuff. Would you come over and talk to us? We're looking for an executive director." I told him, I said, "I'm really loving my retirement gig right now. I'm really loving it." And when I was working in corporate America, I had a very global position. I traveled the world. I was very blessed. But when I retired, I was really tired of the globalness of everything. And I told my folks when I retired and my friends, I said, if I ever get another gig, I just want it to be local. I want it to be Texan. I just want to hear Texan. And I want to do something that's not about corporate, that's not about greed, to where I can really serve people. And so when my friend Larry called me, I blew him off at first. And then I got to thinking, I said, I'll go talk to him. And I walked into a room, and there was about 12 of the board of directors, 10 or 12 of them in there. And I just didn't get more Texan than that group. And it just didn't get more local and service oriented than that group. And I said, you know what? This is really a calling. I can put my time, my talents to something that is really going to be of service to my community. And I can tell you honestly, in the last 5 years, I've never regretted that one time. I've never considered this a job. I considered it an opportunity and a blessing. And my family has been personally helped by a variety of first responders the last year and a half or so. My nephew was involved in a very serious accident. And if it hadn't been for an off-duty first responder that heard that wreck happen, he wouldn't be with us today.
Is there really such a thing as an off-duty first responder?
No, there's not. There's not.
You mentioned earlier in the show you have other fundraisers and other abilities to raise money. What are those?
Yes, sir. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is called the 100 Shots for the 100 Club, and that's the first Friday every May, and it's a huge clay shoot. We host almost 500 shooters for this event, and we have it out at Beaumont Ranch in Grandview.
Right.
And it's become one of the premier shoots in this area.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Now, people can also donate anytime they want, right? On your page, I'm sure there's a donate button, I'm sure.
Most definitely. And memberships. I mean, anyone can become a member of the 100 Club. It's $100 a year. We stick with our theme, and you can just go on to our website, ct100.org. And either click the membership area, which is Join Us, or there's a donate button, and you can just do a general donation if you just want to do a one-time donation.
Do you have recurring donations like several of the other nonprofits have? Okay,
yes,
so because several of them have $25 a month or whatever else, and what they tell me is they tell me that really value that because it helps them budget better, that kind of thing.
Right. And our memberships, I mean, we're always looking for new members and new volunteers to help us with all of the events and the activities that we do. And so if you're service oriented and you love first responders and you'd like to get involved, give me a call, shoot me an email, and would love to get you plugged in. On
the 21st, I mentioned National Giving Day, and I'm going to have several of the nonprofits here. You want a piece of that action?
That'd be great.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, so what will have happen is that there'll be about 6 or 7 of your peers and colleagues. You may know them. They all know each other apparently, and they're going to come sit in that seat for about 10 minutes and tell us what they want. We can throw all this stuff up there again.
That'd be awesome
because Taylor has it saved, and so it'll be like Next Step Women's Center. It's going to be Harvest House. It's going to be Promises. There's about Crazy 8 Ministries. I'm trying to remember everybody. Fitability TX, which is a program for a fitness program for people with mental disabilities. Is there anybody else off the top of my head? I don't know. I hope I didn't leave somebody out inadvertently, but there's going to be about 6 or 7. So yeah, you could come by and we just come on up, and and everybody just passes the headphones around. It really is a pretty it's a sweet event. I did this last year, and I was very touched just how they root for each other so strongly. Everybody, they saw a dollar raised as a dollar raised, not a dollar I didn't get. That kind of thing. No, and that's the cool thing about nonprofits is. Everybody works together for whatever the cause is, and just helping the community know about all of the other activities, and just trying to get people plugged in. I mean, that's how we're all better, in my opinion, is when you get involved and you do something for somebody else. When you put yourself aside, and that's what these first responders do every day. They're not in it for themselves. They're not in it for the money, for sure. Yeah. No, you don't get rich. They're servants. That. Yeah, they're servants. Well, I've told this many times on this show. I'm a very fortunate person because I get to sit here in this chair and talk to all of y'all, and I get a very global view of what's going on in the community, both politically and with the schools, but also, most importantly, with the nonprofits. And it's been a blessing for me to see how many people we got in this community that will put their, they're really working for good. Right. They're doing good things in this community. Sometimes you get, on social media, it gets kind of trashy and whatever else, but there's so many people doing so many good things with the churches, with nonprofits, with just people wanting to help, and it's amazing. Taylor, throw the Castro logo on, if you would, please, because I want to give Mr. Morrison props here, because this is the kind of thing we like about this show and this community. Is all these people I talked about who sponsor this show, this is what they want to sponsor. I mean, they'll put up with me yelling about Joe Biden every now and then, but as far as, but this is what they want. Now tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so my wife and I opened it December 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I had left my corporate career, retired a couple of weeks prior to.
Yeah.
And we never looked back. It's been great for us. We really feel that we're a real piece of the community. We're able to contribute to the community. We're a different type of lube shop, if you will. We don't. Not everybody that comes in needs a windshield wiper or an air filter. and I tell my guys, when I said, look, when you're looking at that air filter, if that were your air filter, would you spend the $18 on it? If you wouldn't, then put it back in there and don't try to chase that nickel. It's not worth it. So we've had that mindset all along, and it's been good for us. It's worked well for us.
Their customer service is top notch, and I speak personally from that. Brett and his team just do a fantastic job. So if you've not
reiterate team, because it's mostly my team. I have two young men there that are managing it when I'm not there, and even when I'm there, they're managing it. And
I've been there when you're there and when you're not there, and I get the same service no matter what.
That's the fact.
Well, my car is not new, but it's still relatively new. But I need to change the oil pretty soon, because I need to keep it new, so I know where to go now.
Yep. Yes, for sure. Come see us.
And I've had 2 or 3 other people, when I put the announcement that y'all going to be on and whatnot, I had 2 or 3 people say, "Hey, I used them; they're great," and all this. Other, they're really good, and one of them did mention they didn't feel like you were trying to be upselling them. Oh, you need this, that, and the other. Well. Yeah. Well, how much is those wipers? Well, they're $150. I don't know.
and that's another thing. I don't mark my stuff up as much as the chain shops that are in our neighborhood do.
Yes. So. And I like supporting local businesses like this, independent businesses like this. That's that's one of the good things about Burleson. Of course, we're growing and all. We're going to get the chains coming in and all this. That's great. It's fine. It's just the way it is. But as far as, though, these are the kind of businesses we need to make sure prosper in our community, because y'all pay the taxes,
right?
and y'all provide the jobs, and y'all provide the services. And if y'all go away, then we got a real problem,
right?
So, so you going to keep doing this until
as far as I can see? Yeah. I mean, I may wake up dead tomorrow. And
I'd have thought that is all right. On that lovely note, we're coming to the end here. Carrie, why don't you tell us everything we need to know in the last few minutes?
Well, we hope to see you out at Sunday, October 22nd at the Railroaders, the home of the Cleburne Railroaders, which is in Cleburne. It's right at the intersection of 67 and the Chisholm Trail Parkway. So it's really easy to find, even if you're coming from Fort Worth or, parts outside of Johnson County. Very easy to find. That our car show runs from 2 until 6 p.m. If you would like to register your vehicle to come out and show it off, we'd love for you to do that. You can do that a couple of ways. You can go to our Facebook page, which is Chisholm Trail 100 Club, and click the link on our page for the car show. You can go to our website, which is ct100.org. You can click the link for our Hot Rods and Heroes event and register online. It'll take you less than 3 minutes. It'll save you time on the day of. You can pay, get everything done, and just roll in there that day. Make sure you've got a lot of stuff to do that day. You got to wash your car. You got to get it all spit shined and all that. Last thing you want to do is stand in line and get registered.
The other thing you could do is volunteer. We do need volunteers to help us with judging, sign up, parking. There's plenty of volunteer opportunities out there if you don't have a car and you just want to come hang out with us.
Yep.
I might suggest you contact maybe the local high schools, maybe their honor society, their student council could help out, because I know it's almost, I don't know if it's still a requirement, but they do emphasize community service
right.
as part of their
We've done that in the past, and we've had some great volunteers through that. But this is a great way to check out our organization as well if you want to get involved. This is a really fun event. You work a couple of hours doing something, and then you get to walk around and check out all the cars, listen to the great music.
Possibly get a free T-shirt.
Yep, free T-shirt.
You're going to bring the shirt. You'll bring it next week, right?
I'm going to bring it. Yes.
Is that one from Castro? Is that mine?
That's ours. Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's not the car show shirt.
Well, I always like T-shirts.
But
You know.
are you a hat guy as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll bring you a cap and
All
a
right.
T-shirt.
Oh,
so-
rock and roll. All right. Yes,
But,
I have hats and whatnot. Well, I sure appreciate not just y'all being here, but what y'all do. I mean, this is a great event, and on a day like today, we need to stop down just for a second and remember what people did for us.
Exactly. And what they
do
continue
for us.
to do
Yeah,
for us.
right.
It continue. And another thing about first responders, not only do they run to the danger when everybody else is running away from it, but they're there for you on your worst day. You know, if you're having a call for a first responder, something not good has happened
Right.
to you. So they're there. They're the calm in the storm. I've since I took this job, again, a kind of a God thing. I witnessed an accident and a very bad accident on 35 and was in the middle of all these first responders coming on site and responding to that, and just their professionalism, the calmness, everything that they do just totally can transform that situation. And they do that day in and day out. And from a mental and emotional standpoint, I don't know how they do it every day.
That is tough.
It's rough.
I talked about, it's been a little while, but I talked about with Billy Cordell, the police chief, and about the mental aspect and, the needs for counseling. And I think they're providing that at Burleson PD and whatnot, and I assume for the fire department as well. And it's pretty necessary. And I've had many students, they're first responders of various kinds. There's like 3 Burleson officers that are police officers that are ex-students of mine, fire, EMT, ambulance, all this business in there. And I've had asked them, said, why do you do it? And it's because sometimes they can't even define it, but they wanted to be and do something important with their lives.
Right.
And so it was a really good thing. I appreciate y'all being here. Tomorrow I'm going to tell Wild, you better sign up to be a sponsor.
We'd love that.
Okay. On Thursday, I have Debbie Beeman with Promises Community. We've got a lot going on with the needs in this community, the needs that they're providing. Their resources are getting kind of tight. And so we'll be talking about that. Next week, the 18th is an open date. 19th, I have Adam Russell and Victoria Johnson. I'm going to talk about taxes. Because there was a big deal in the last city council meeting.
That is one of our sponsors.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Well, I would, First National Bank? Okay. Yep. And then the 21st is the big giving day, which now you're a part of.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
So thank you, Taylor, for all the video and other updates, and we appreciate
As
you
always.
too. All right. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you so much.